So you're a brand new medical interpreter and all of your sessions have been going great. You have not been getting stuck on that much words. All of the vocabulary that you practice has come up in the sessions. There have been words that you have learned lately from those sessions. Of course, we're medical interpreters, we're always learning. Every day could be a day to welcome new words. But all of a sudden, you are in a new session, and this session is a little bit different from the rest. All of a sudden, you see the nurse pick up a list, and she starts to read off a questionnaire. Now, this questionnaire is filled with lots of technical vocabulary that perhaps you are not familiar with. Now, what do you do then? You were not prepared for this, and you have no idea what most of these words mean. What am I talking about? This is the MRI questionnaire. This is that session that is going to have you sweating, is going to make you question your precision as an interpreter, right? Your experience, your knowledge. It'll test you in all of those fields. But the good thing is that it will only test you once, because once you master the hardest MRI session you will ever get, guess what? All of the sessions are just the same or a variation of that very same first session that you ever took. So stick around, because I'm gonna be doing a series of several videos explaining what those vocabulary words are and their Spanish interpretation.
Tune in as Interpret Your World's co-founder, Juan Prieto, talks about the highlights of his workday as a professional medical video remote interpreter. If you are aspiring to learn something new and gain insight into what the world of medical interpretation is really like, then you've come to the right place. Follow along as Juan talks not only about his success, but the daily challenges he has to overcome to become a better interpreter each and every day. This is Unwind Sessions with Juan Prieto.
So hello, welcome to this lovely Friday, September 10, 2021, which should have happened according to my calendar like 3 days ago, right? If you've been following this video, on Tuesday I thought it was Thursday, so unlucky for me. But anyways, I took a total of 24 sessions today, and I am proud to say that today I had a single audio session. So you know I love audio sessions, so it really made my day and it set the tone for the whole day. That little audio session, well, I have more stuff to talk about, but that little audio session just made a whole difference in my day. I thought I was never going to see audio sessions anymore. So that was 24 video and audio sessions, so that was like 23 video, 1 audio. And there was also very long, 2 very long video sessions which I was just holding. So I was just chilling through all that session, a word here and there. First one was a lady that she was about to give birth, so they just had me there. The occasional push, I'm sorry. There was no occasional push. I didn't even know the baby was born. I just heard something in the background, and all of a sudden I heard a kid crying. I did not even know that was the kid that was being born the session that I was doing, because of course I was faced away from the patient, and I think it was a shared room, or I don't know, because I could hear other people in the background and other doctors, so I wasn't sure which one that was. But at the end, the baby was born. I didn't get to see the baby, or anyone for that matter, but I heard the baby crying, and yeah, it made me feel good that I was able to interpret at least a couple of words to aid in that session. So that was pretty nice. Before I get into the rest of the sessions, I have to remind you that we are still accepting comments for MIP 21. Remember that when MIP 21 reaches 100 likes, we are going to be picking 2 comments at random, and we are going to be sending the people who those comments belong to exclusive links to MIP22. That way they can record their interpretations and send them over to us so we can provide them some lovely feedback, right? So who doesn't want that? And we are in need of funds. So guys, you guys know we have a Patreon page where with as little as just $1 of your support, you help motivate us to create much more content. So we are requesting your help. We really need lots of funding so this channel can continue growing, and all of our videos have tons of research and tons of work. So to continue seeing this type of videos, well, we need funding, right? Everything in this world needs money so it can roll. Remember that with $1 of your support, you have access to everything on the page, all of the medical practice videos, ad-free scripts, answer sheets, vocabulary lists, and much more content. So get on that, guys. It's $1 now. It won't be $1 forever. I don't know, inflation, you know. Inflation goes up or prices go up, everything goes up. But get on that, guys. We have no tiers yet. Once we have more and more and more material, we're gonna be making tiers, of course. But right now, as of now, we have no date to set tiers. So get on that, guys. Right now, this is the lowest price that you will ever get for all of our Patreon content. So thank you for everyone that has been supporting us on Patreon, on Buy Me a Coffee, all of our subscribers, and everyone that is watching this video. All right, and now to the highlights. So today it so happened that a lady was interpreting for her mother. And instead of dazing off like I always do when this happens, I actually listened to her interpretation, and something that I noticed is that when she was interpreting for the doctor, the lady would add more stuff to her interpretation. Like for example, the doctor, let's say the doctor asked, all right, so how have you been feeling today? And then the lady responded, oh, today I have been feeling well. And then the daughter would respond, oh, she says she has been feeling well, but she was having back pain yesterday. Weren't you having back pain yesterday, mom? And then the mom would be like, oh yeah, she was having back pain yesterday. And then like she would interpret things that the mother wasn't even saying. And another thing is that whenever the doctor asked the mother something, the lady would interpret what the doctor said, but she would ask her own set of questions trying to get an answer. Like for example, the doctor would say, so how long has your leg been hurting, ma'am? And then the daughter would interpret, ¿cuánto tiempo lleva doliéndole la pierna? Y también le está doliendo el pie, ¿verdad? Y había dicho que el otro día también le estaba doliendo la cadera. And then the lady would answer yes, and then the lady would answer that to the doctor. And I thought that was great. Honestly, imagine us having the power to do that. Like we could get like very, very good sessions. Of course, we don't have the ability because we don't know the patient, right? But I just thought, I mean, in my book, that as an interpreter, if she was an interpreter, of course, that was a bad interpretation. But since she was a family member, like she had all of this background information, right? This backstory about the lady. So if the lady answers something wrong, the daughter knew, for example, oh, she's not telling her this. And you know, I don't know if it happens to you. It definitely happens to me. I have a million questions. I go to the doctor and it's like if I had all of the questions here and they just rubbed off of my bald head, just like all of my problems, right? So I just thought it was so cool that she was able to do that because she had the backstory. It was her mother. So she kind of knew the story, so she knew what questions to ask and give a complete picture to the doctor because the mother was not providing it. And I just thought that was very cool, and it was just something different, different type of interpretation that I had never seen before, and I really liked it. Of course, that's a no-go for us professional interpreters, right? We will not have backstory on the patients, and of course, imagine asking the patient questions because you don't think the patient answered the question correctly, right? You want to give the doctor the correct story. So that would be a big no-no for us, but I just wanted to mention this because I thought it was pretty cool. Like the family member interpreting, and she was interpreting pretty good. Like whatever the doctor said, she interpreted perfectly, and whatever the mother said, she interpreted perfectly. The only thing is that she added those extra things and then she confirmed with the mother, or that she asked extra questions to get the answers that the doctor needed. So I mean, I'm still talking about it, and I went over the time allowed for this. So it was very, very cool. It was something. Oh, another highlight that I have for today is that I had an internet outage for 1 hour. Apparently, everyone in Chihuahua had this internet, or everyone that has Telmex, which is like that was like the very first company here. So holla in the comments, let me know how many of you guys lost your internet, and if it was only for Chihuahua or what was going on. Please. Another thing is, this has nothing to do with interpreting, but I learned this from our company weekly newsletter, and it actually said, this is a really weird fact, that a dentist invented cotton candy. Can you believe that? Like the person that is supposed to prevent your teeth from cavities is the very same person that invented the thing that will cause cavities, right? Not the thing, but one of the things. And I just thought that's so ironic, right? The person who's supposed to save your teeth is rotten, making them rotten. And I'm rottening. I'm making up new words here, so you'll learn that word from online sessions today. Rottening. I just made that up. I'm gonna make sure that gets added to the dictionary. Rotting, right? Rotting. Well, I don't know. English as a second language. All right. So the first thing that I thought, I was like, whoa, this man's a genius. He has a round business, right? A business cycle. So he cleans the teeth. The teeth are good. He sells them some cotton candy. Teeth get rotten. They go to the dentist. He fixes them up. He sells them more cotton candy. They go to the dentist, and they are forever stuck in his money, in his infinite money-making loop, right? So should probably invent something like that. Should probably start an interpreting business, right? Train the interpreters and just hire them. $1 million, baby, $1 million. I just need the funding. All right, so that is it for the highlights today. So let's get started with this MRI questionnaire vocabulary part 1. And I am no longer gonna be telling you guys where I got the definitions. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna post the links to everything I used for research. I'm gonna be posting it on the description down there, so that way it'll help you guys to get much more education. It'll help you guys to find the content much faster if you guys have any questions, right? Why wasn't I doing this before? Is because I was working on 2 separate computers. I had my work computer and my personal computer, so just getting them to link up was bad because when I use one, I don't use the other. Sometimes I do, but no, it was just too complicated. My workflow was getting too complicated, and I don't have time for that right now. So I wasn't doing it. I couldn't paste the links from one place to another, but now I can definitely do it now. So hopefully that gets us a little bit more time and that gets you much better links. That way you can look up all of the definitions or anything that you happen to have a question on. So hopefully that helps. Let me know what you think about that. All right, so let's get started with word number 1 from this list. So that is cardiac pacemaker, and in Spanish is marcapasos cardíaco. So a cardiac pacemaker or artificial pacemaker, so as to not to be confused with the natural pacemaker of the heart, is a medical device that generates electrical impulses delivered by electrodes to cause the heart muscle chambers, the upper or atria and or the lower or ventricles, to contract and therefore pump blood. By doing so, this device replaces and or regulates the function of the electrical conduction system of the heart. So a cardiac pacemaker pretty much is just like a little device that they place right next to your heart, right? It usually goes inside of the skin, and it has a battery, and it just shocks the heart, right? To keep the heart pumping in a natural rhythm, which is supposed to have, right? If the person does not have a pacemaker, then the heart might squeeze when it's supposed to pump, right? Or pump when it's supposed to squeeze, and it might squeeze twice and then pump once or whatever. All kinds of things can happen with a heart that is not pumping normally. So they put a pacemaker on, that way it can regulate the pumping of the heart. All right, and oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys are familiar with MRI machines, but MRI machines are just giant magnets. So anything that is metal, it will completely get stuck on the giant magnet. So they have to make sure that the people have no metal in their body. They make sure that they have all of their clothes off. They make sure they have no metal buttons on their clothes or anything, because that magnet is so strong, it will pull that right out of the body. Imagine having a person in there with a pacemaker and then it just gets pulled out. That person is wuss. Let's just put it that way. All right, so that's why they do these questionnaires. Don't think it's just to make your life a living hell. All right, so number 2, implanted cardioverter defibrillator, or an ICD, and this is a cardioverter defibrilador implantado. So an ICD is a battery-powered device placed under the skin that keeps track of your heart rate. The wires connect the ICD to your heart. If an abnormal heart rhythm is detected, the device will deliver an electric shock to restore a normal heartbeat if your heart is beating chaotically and much too fast. All right, so there is a condition of the heart, like I told you, like for example, if your heart skips a beat, right? Like let's say it like squeezes and now it's supposed to pump, but it doesn't, and then it pumps, it just skipped the beat, right? Or if it squeezes and then it goes like this, right? That's not right. It's supposed to open completely, push the blood out, draw the blood in, and then if it just pushes a little bit and then it draws it in, that is bad. That's bad for the heart. It could cause blood clots, it could cause all kinds of things. Also, if it's like racing too much, that is not good. That's not good. So an implanted cardioverter defibrillator is just like it's not just like a pacemaker. It's similar to a pacemaker because it goes on the same place, but the difference is that this one is not making sure your heart pumps regularly all the time. Like the pacemaker is always delivering a constant signal that keeps the heart pumping, but this is just monitoring the heart. And whenever the heart goes out of whack, this thing says Pikachu, right? And then the heart just like wakes up and is like, oh, sorry about that, I just dozed off a little bit, and it goes back to business, right? So that is an implanted cardioverter defibrillator. All right, and let's go to number 3. Number 3 is internal electrodes, electrodos internos. Now, I couldn't find any. By the way, I always look up the words that I give you guys here before I actually add them, because I don't want to give you guys wrong spelling and stuff, and sometimes I don't even look things up and I interpret them, and then I look them up, and then there are interpretations that are much better than what I came up with, or interpretations that seem more neutral that will work in any place, not just in Mexico, right? Sometimes I forget that we service all of the Hispanic countries, right? And I use sometimes I use words that are used in Mexico, and people just look at me like, what? So yeah, I mean, sometimes I forget. So I try to give you like the most neutral translations, but for this one, I just interpreted it literally. Internal electrodes, electrodos internos. There is no other interpretation for this, and I just want to let you know that I am an electrician, so definitely know that that is the correct terminology and translation, right? So the medical electrode transfer the energy of ionic currents into the body into electrical currents that can be amplified, studied, and used to help make diagnosis, right? So they are pretty much like the leads for a device that they either measure the impulses of the electricity of the body and send them to a machine, or it's either a machine that is sending the electrical signal into the body to stimulate it or to get some sort of a response from it. So electrodes have functions. They can either receive or they can send, right? But they are like the terminals, the electric terminals, because a wire, well, let me put it this way. Let's say that you have a wire. Now you have the electrical wire and it has the wiring, right? And it has like the covering here. Now this is the copper wire and this is the wire, the what do you call it? The covering, I don't want to say rubber covering, but yeah, plastic rubber covering. It's a very weird material that it's made out of. And I just dropped my mouse. All right. So anyways, as I was saying, that's the wire, right? So in theory, if that exposed copper, that could actually count as an electrode, because that is the lead, the part where electricity is going to be connected to another thing, right? And so it can potentially make an arc of electricity, and I'm just explaining too much electric stuff, so I'm just gonna stop right there. So just know that an electrode is like the end point receiving thing for electricity. All right, okay, and let's get to number 4. Artificial heart valve, válvula cardíaca artificial. So this is an artificial heart valve. Is a one-way valve implanted into a person's heart to replace a valve that is not functioning properly, valvular heart disease. Artificial heart valves can be separated into 3 blood classes: mechanical heart valves, bioprosthetic tissue valves, and engineered tissue valves. All right, I don't know if you guys are familiar with what valves do, but valves pretty much just shut off the flow of liquid or anything, pretty much the flow of anything into another chamber, let's say, or whatever, another continuation, right? In this case, we're talking about the heart. There are chambers of the heart. There are the atrial chambers, and there are the, what are the bottom ones called? I saw it right now. The ventricles. All right, so I don't remember which ones. I think the atrials draw in blood and the ventricles send it out. So pretty much there is another use for the, well, yeah, that is the use for the valve, right? So, but there are other valves called check valves, which is kind of like what we have in the heart. And check valves, like for example, they're like this, right? If you push water through here, let's say this is the water, it's gonna flow, right? But since it's in this shape, like if the water tries to go in there, that's not gonna go back, all right? So the heart has valves. That way, blood flow can go out of a chamber, go into the other one, and then blood flow, depending on the type of the valve, it'll let blood in or blood out. Now, and it won't do the other thing unless it's faulty, and that could happen. So if the valve is not working good and if it's very bad, they will put an artificial valve to keep blood from either getting out because it's supposed to stay in, or blood from getting in because blood is supposed to be going out. All right, and number 5, this is an endovascular coil, and in Spanish is espiral endovascular. Now this is one of those things that I was saying wrong. I was saying bobina endovascular because a coil is a bobina, but a bobina is like an electric coil, right? Not really like an espiral. An espiral is more like a, it's a coil, but it's more like a, man, I forgot. What do you call those resortes? What do you call it? Springs, the metal springs. All right, so it's more like a metal spring. Let me tell you what it is. So healthcare providers use endovascular coiling, also called endovascular embolization, to block blood flow into an aneurysm. An aneurysm is a weakened area in the wall of an artery. If an aneurysm ruptures, it can cause life-threatening bleeding and brain damage. Preventing blood flow into an aneurysm helps to keep it from rupturing. For endovascular coiling, healthcare providers use a catheter, a long thin tube inserted into the groin. The catheter is advanced into the affected brain artery where the coil is deployed. X-rays help guide the catheter into the artery. The coils are made of soft platinum metal and are shaped like a spring. These coils are very small and thin, ranging in size from about twice the width of a human hair to less than 1 hair's width. So they are pretty much like coils that they will put inside an aneurysm. Now an aneurysm is like a little pocket in the vein, right? So if that little pocket eventually starts blowing up like a balloon, it could potentially rupture, and it's in the brain. So you can imagine how awful and how life-threatening that would be. That's life-changing if that happens. So in order to avoid the blood flow into the aneurysm, what they do is they take this little coil and then they put it inside of the aneurysm. The aneurysm is filled, nothing more can get in there, so the blood will just flow right through and not make this a very life-threatening condition. Number 6, Vena Cava filter, filtro para vena cava. Now the aorta is the biggest artery in our body, and the vena cava is the largest vein in our body. So vena cava filters are special devices that are inserted into the main vein, the vena cava, to prevent blood clots from moving from the vein into the legs or to the lung, which would result in a life-threatening pulmonary embolism. So you might want to look that up in Google, so that way you can see a picture of what these filters look like. They look like a little metal cone kind of thing, and well, they just put them in there so that if there happens to be any clots like in the legs, blood flows from the arteries, from the heart to the arteries, right? Then from the arteries it goes to the veins, and then it goes back through the heart through the veins. So they put that if they know there is what's it called, a blood clot. If there is a blood clot, then there's a probability that that'll end up in the heart or in the lungs. So they put that filter in hopes of catching that clot and preventing much more serious damage. Number 7 is stent. Now, stent is the correct, or a stent, I can't remember. I always keep it as stent because I looked it up in La Real Academia. What is it? Real Academia. I forgot, but it's RAE. That's like the main thing for, like, they're like the highest authority for the Spanish language. All right, and they keep it like that. But I think they do. It's with a E, a stent. So a stent is a tiny tube that can play a big role in treating your heart disease. It helps keep your arteries, the blood vessels that carry blood from your heart to other parts of your body, including the heart muscle itself, open. Most stents are made out of wire mesh and are permanent. Some are made out of fabric. These are called stent grafts and are often used for larger arteries. Others are made of material that dissolves and that your body absorbs over time. They're coated in medicine that slowly releases into your artery to prevent it from being blocked again. So stents are not necessarily for the heart. They can be placed in any artery, and they can also be placed in the ureters and the urethra. Why? To pass kidney stones. All right, but they can, well, no, I'm not sure of that, so I'm not going to tell you guys that. All right, number 8, aneurysm clip, pinza para aneurisma. So an aneurysm clip is a surgical procedure to treat brain aneurysm. Involves opening the skull, finding the affected artery, and then placing a metal clip over the neck of the aneurysm. So you remember we talked about coils right now, and the coils, they go in through the groin all the way in through the brain, and they put the little coil in there so nothing goes in there. Well, an aneurysm clip is a different procedure. They actually have to open up the skull and go in there, look at the vein that has an aneurysm, and let's say it's like this. They are going to place a clip right here, and the aneurysm is going to be closed forever. No flow is going to be in there, and they leave that clip there for the rest of the person's life. And they are usually metal, so imagine getting that ripped out of your skull from an MRI machine. Don't imagine it. Don't imagine it. I think it's best if nobody imagines that. Neurostimulator, neuroestimulador. This is an implantable neurostimulator. It's a surgically placed device about the size of a stopwatch. It delivers mild electrical signals to the epidural space near your spine through one or more thin wires called leads. Neurostimulation provides pain relief by disrupting the pain signals traveling between the spinal cord and the brain. In other words, it outsmarts your pain. So I have never had to do a session where they talk about a neurostimulator. So of course I saw what it was right now from all of the research that I did today. But other than that, I am unfamiliar. I mean, having a little machine there for people that have extreme pain, right, to just give you those shocks so you no longer feel pain. I'm no doctor, right, but it sure beats taking Tylenol, destroying your liver, and taking ibuprofen, destroying your kidneys, right? I don't know if this has any side effects. I'm pretty sure it does, but I mean, depending on what's going on, I think, well, if they do it right, there must be a reason why they're doing it. Number 10. Number 10 is called a TENS unit, and let me tell you what it stands for. TENS stands for transcutaneous, hold up, right here, transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation TENS unit. So TENS unit, and in Spanish it would be where is it? Here it is. Unidad de neuroestimulación eléctrica transcutánea. Alright, so what is this? A transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation TENS unit is a device that sends small electrical currents to targeted body parts. These currents are used to relieve pain. Some TENS units are designed for use in the hospital or healthcare facility. Others are safe to use at home. TENS therapy subdues hyperalgesia. Hyperalgesia. I have never heard that word in my life, which is a high sensitivity to pain. The pain may be located anywhere in the body. I am familiar with this because I've seen it in several PT sessions. They will just hook up the patient to this thing, and they will just give them that stimulation to make them feel better. So this is one of those things that I have never seen outside of PT sessions. So that is going to be pretty much it for me today, guys. We did 10 words. I don't know, honestly, there are so many words I didn't even count them. I'm just taking them off of a list. And by the way, we have a medical interpretation practice video. I am going to post a link up in that description about this questionnaire, the MRI questionnaire. So make sure to do this video. Well, yeah, let's see how you do with this video. Go ahead and give that a shot. But remember that there are going to be more episodes to this MRI questionnaire. That's not it, guys. You guys wish. All right, remember that we are still accepting comments for MIP 21, so get your feedback. Please leave any questions in the comments and I will answer some of them on the next session. And if anything is time sensitive, please let me know so I can get to that before the rest of the queue. Remember, I'll be here every Monday to Friday after work. And also remember that we have a Patreon page for as little as just $1. You help to support and motivate us, so get on that, guys. And that's it. This is the end of the video. We love all of our Patreons. We love everyone that has bought us a coffee. We love all of our subscribers. We love you that is watching the end of this video. And thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so, if you liked the video, for much more content, and don't forget to share. Happy interpreting. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Unwind Sessions. Make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. And if you learned something new today, it'd be great if you left us a review. You can also visit us on patreon.com/interpretyourworld or visit our website, interpretyourworld.com. Unwind Sessions.
If you like this video, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, share this video with other beginner interpreters or anyone who can benefit from this information. Thank you all so much for all the support you guys have given us. This means the world to us. Don't forget, we also have social media. We have a Facebook group and a Facebook page. We also have an Instagram and the one I love the most, TikTok. We just recently got a Buy Me a Coffee, and also, if you guys didn't already know, we do have a Patreon account. If you guys would like to support us a little more, we'd love to have you guys over there. And as always, I will be posting all the links to these pages down below in the description box. Thanks for watching!